Here's everything we know about the secret shell game to sneak President Trump out of Turkey last month.
They want to take out the U.S. leader, me. I'm their number one target.
Behind the scenes, according to a U.S. official, concerns were growing about an apparent threat from Iran on the president's life, and a small group of advisors began planning the deception.
So guys, I want you to watch this video that was released by CNN yesterday. That is all about Trump's security and how he changed the plan within minutes of people not even realizing.
7:54 p.m. You can see in this video, airport catering trucks begin getting into position at the side of the blue and white Legacy Air Force One that Trump said he was using to return to Washington. At 8:24 p.m., Trump's motorcade arrives to the tarmac. As it speeds towards Air Force One, another smaller plane, a C-32A, is parked nearby. This shot is the best vantage of how the two planes are positioned on the tarmac. As the motorcade rounds the corner, you can see the two catering trucks at the side of the jumbo jet lifted up on hydraulics to doors on the right side of the plane. A few minutes later, Trump climbs the staircase and waves before entering his cabin. You can see the catering truck right there beneath the fuselage. At the back of the plane, reporters and staff line up to get on board, and this is when the shell game begins. A U.S. official says Trump was whisked off the plane and into a waiting catering truck. At 8:28 p.m., you can see a man in a suit climbing into the truck's cab. The container is lowered and the truck pulls out a minute later. The truck drives away from the bigger plane across the tarmac and pulls up to the C-32A. By zooming in, you can see it right there behind the engines. A person in a suit steps out of the cab, walks to the stairs, and gets on board. The bigger plane, now without the president on board, takes off at 8:44 p.m., passing right past the smaller plane with Trump inside. The smaller plane taxis away a minute later.
The smaller plane, the one Trump is actually on, doesn't show up on publicly available flight trackers, but video from YouTube shows it landing at Mildenhall at around the same time as the bigger plane. We don't know exactly how Trump moved from the smaller plane to the bigger one, but it took about 20 minutes for reporters to get off the plane once it had touched down, plenty of time for President Trump to sneak back on board.
By 10:56 p.m., Trump can be seen descending the stairs of the Legacy Air Force One, this time in view of the cameras. He walked across the tarmac slowly back to the Qatar jet for the flight home to Washington. On the way home, he was asked about some of the unusual security precautions.
You're, probably on a dangerous flight. But if I go, you go, right?
But was there a
So
specific
perhaps someday you want to change professions. I go by Secret Service and the military. They wanted me to go on a different flight, a different plane, equal safety, but they wanted me to do it, so I do it. I do what they say.
Why was it too dangerous for you to fly on Air Force One, but
Well,
not
I don't
too
know.
dangerous
I
for the
think
press?
actually the plane that I flew on was at greater risk.
Why
I think
do you
it was
say
at greater
that?
risk because that would be the plane I think that they would be more likely to go for.
Did you hear that, guys? Donald Trump is saying that the other plane that he used, he thinks that it was very likely that they will attack that kind of plane because it was a Boeing 757, and it's not so equipped compared to Air Force One. And that plane that he's talking about, it is mostly used by the vice president, not the president or those officials in the government or of a White House. Okay, that's a plane that usually is not so much equipped when we compare to Air Force One, which is more a bigger plane with more of missiles inside and all those kind of radar system which have been equipped more to track and avoid those what we call the counteract the missiles which can be attacked. So this is something that Donald Trump is saying, that he seems not to be. He was even more worried because what if they could have decided to attack the other plane, you see? So he's kind of really trying to say that they did it well, but they thank God because nothing happened during that particular event. And you know what really happened is immediately after he landed, the plane, both planes, after he switched off the plane, they landed and in the destination. And when they arrived at the destination, what really happened is that the same thing that they did before takeoff, the plane came to park nearby and he alighted using a truck of which load the foodstuffs inside the plane, and he went into that truck and transferred himself to the Air Force One at the back door, and then start now coming inside, exiting the plane in a way that they think people will think that he has come with that Air Force One. Guys, what do you think about this particular move? Watch this video till the end and then we'll discuss it.
The Secret Service One, yes, the big fat orange payload has been delivered. I repeat, the big fat orange cowardly payload has been delivered. We're ready to go. Don't worry, Mr. President, you're safe now. But how nice of you to leave all those White House staffers and reporters on Air Force One. I'm sure if they get shot down, they'll be comforted to know that at least you're safe. What a great leader you are. Motherfucker!
To save his own life, the President of the United States used his own employees and American journalists as bait for assassins. That's it. That's the story. This failed game show host and his cohort of Fox exiles used American journalists and employees of the White House as decoys to avoid an assassination attempt on President Trump. To be clear, they should be avoiding assassination attempts by Iranians on the president. But to use their own employees, to fool his own employees and American journalists into thinking that they were all getting on the same plane, and then use them as a decoy, as bait. That's it. That's the story. Why is this not the conversation on everybody's lips today?
I don't ever want to hear anybody ever again say that Donald Trump is not scared of Iran. President Donald Trump secretly switched planes in July of 2026 to escape a credible Iranian assassination threat. He was covertly smuggled into a military jet using a catering truck as a decoy. And now he's even using surface-to-air missile defense systems that travel with him when he plays golf, just in case of an Iranian assassination attempt. That's more than likely not going to happen. I mean, let's just be real here. But let's get back to the plane thing. He literally said to everybody, fuck you on that plane. Like, hey, if Iran shoots this plane down, you're all fucked, but I'll be good. You know, I only care about myself. I only care about number fucking one. All his staff, all the fucking press, all the people that work on the plane, the two fucking pilots were just left in the dark on this. And that is what I think is fucking wild.
Donald Trump is getting dragged on social media for being a coward, and the memes are glorious. Now, if you somehow missed it, Donald Trump had to switch planes when leaving Turkey a couple months ago because there was a threat from Iran against Air Force One. And while Donald Trump left on a separate plane, he left the press and some of his administration staff on Air Force One as sitting ducks. Well, everybody is calling Donald Trump a coward for this, and the memes are beautiful. Check this one out. This is one of my favorites. This is supposed to be found footage of Trump in the catering cart trying to make a getaway. It is absolutely amazing and well deserved, by the way. Even Joe Rogan is calling out Donald Trump for leaving these people on Air Force One and basically using them as a decoy. But this is not the first time we've seen Donald Trump in fear for his life and hiding. If you remember in the first term, when there were protesters outside the gates of the White House, Donald Trump was down in the bunker and had DC police clear the protesters out. Donald Trump is getting dragged for this moment, and he deserves every bit of it, and it's hilarious.
So they done already made the Lego video about this one, but apparently they did the whole switcheroo when the president was leaving Turkey. So because there was apparently a threat on Air Force One, allegedly by Iran, the president got on the old Air Force One, the normal one that we've been using, then snuck out the back and went down a back staircase, got into a catering truck, and was taken to another military plane that flew to London. So both Air Force Ones took off at different times, both landed in London, and then Trump was there, got out of the whatever military truck, snuck back into the old Air Force One, came out, waved to everybody like everything was normal, then walked off old Air Force One onto the new Air Force One and flew the new Air Force One home. And the reporters are mad because they're like, we didn't know there was a threat. And I'm like, I understand you have to protect the president, so they couldn't put it out that they were doing the old switcheroo. But I can see why the reporters were mad, because it's like they got families, they're people too. And if Air Force One was a potential target, they were, you know, being like left there for fodder for the fire. They were just left there to potentially be harmed. So I can understand why the journalists and the media are upset about this whole shell game that was played. But at the same time, I understand they had to do that if there was a threat. Now, was there a threat? I don't know. But you know, it is what it is. Any potential threat to any world leader is going to result in this type of flame. But I'm just letting y'all know. So he was all up in a catering truck doing the shell game. But in the reporters, I understand why they're upset. But things have to happen like this. But I'm just letting y'all know what's up. Y'all have a good day.
Donald Trump used more than 100 unwitting passengers as part of an Air Force One decoy, and I'm not even slightly surprised. US intelligence allegedly identified a credible Iranian threat made against Trump while he was leaving Turkey last month, so he boarded Air Force One in front of the cameras before being secretly taken off through a side door hidden inside a catering truck before being transferred onto a smaller aircraft. But Air Force One still took off towards Britain with more than 100 aides, government officials, and journalists still on board. And they were never told about the threat. Some of Trump's own staff believed that he was still on the plane, and journalists were ordered to keep their window shades closed throughout the flight. So the aircraft, considered too dangerous for the president, was apparently safe enough for everyone else to remain on. And obviously, protecting the president is necessary. Secret security arrangements are normal, but filling the original aircraft with unwitting passengers, maintaining the illusion that Trump was still on board, and then sending that plane across its original route looks an awful lot like using those passengers as a fucking decoy. And Trump's attitude towards their safety was made perfectly clear at the time. When journalists questioned why their window shades had to remain closed, he reportedly told them, well, you're probably on a dangerous flight, but if I go, then you go too, right? Except he didn't go. He was secretly removed from the flight while the other passengers remained on board, not knowing what was going on. And Trump has now confirmed that he did switch aircrafts while claiming that he was simply just following instructions from the Secret Service and the military. And congressional Democrats have now demanded a briefing to know what precautions were taken to protect everybody else that Trump left behind. Because no president should ever be protected by unknowingly placing more than 100 lives between himself and a potential attack. But Donald Trump placing himself before absolutely everybody else, that may be the least surprising part of this entire story.
Who are upset that the president did not tell his staff or the press about the plane swap and the reasons for it. Be so for real right now. All lives are valuable, but the president of the United States must be protected above everyone else at all times. This isn't just for a Republican president, it is also for Democrat presidents. If the president felt that he was able to trust in the media, perhaps he would have been able to talk to them and make them aware of what was happening. The media has created this debacle all on their own. The job of the Secret Service is to protect the President of the United States at all costs. The President had no obligation or duty to release to the press, or even his staff for that matter, what was taking place. I am so shocked that CNN is running with the headlines that the White House and the President literally lied.
And so guys, do you see what really happened during this kind of it happened last month? But the funny thing that really excites me is the fact that people are really talking about this thing, because, you know, how can a president run from Air Force One, whereby we know very well it's a well-protected aircraft, and he was not that sure that it was being targeted at after all. But there's this rumors that he was the target because of this, you know, ongoing war between Iran and US at the moment. So that particular thing made him escape somehow, because you'll find out, even you have heard him saying that he always follows the orders, or what Secret Service reveals to him. When they tell him to to exit the plane. Now that's what he does. When he tells to use this particular vehicle, that's what he follows. So guys, this is exactly what is happening. But at the same time, I think that this is something that you know, I think this is something that should be not judged, because this is the president, you remember, and president has to be like, all things have to be aligned for him. And what I mean by that is that in case of any emergency, this the right procedure to be followed, because we don't want to hear that something happened and, you know, and because security will be the one to be blamed. Because I think if they sense any kind of threat, this is a good movement to do, and actually it's somehow very important. And this has really made my day. Well, guys, what do you think about this particular video? Let me know in the comment section, because people are really happy, some people are really sad or mad at this event, because he left the plane and he left other people being exposed. What if they were targeted inside the Air Force One? That's one thing the people are talking about, because the media team were inside the aircraft. What if it was targeted like as they had thought, you see? So that is something that people have really argued a lot, and I'll leave you guys to tell me in the comment section, what do you think this thing is? Do you think it was a good move, or do you think people are really overthinking? Let me know in the comment section, guys. And if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, kindly consider subscribing, like the video, and let me know what you think about the entire video in the comment section below. Credits belong to CNN for making this video possible, and also those videos that you see here. So thank you so much for watching. Kindly subscribe, like the video, and let me know what you think about this Peace One Love. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.